Hi, welcome back to my channel. This video doesn't have my face, but we are about to start chapter 11. As you all know, we are reading Sign of Ikshvaku in our channel. Let's start.
Roshni was explaining Ram that he would make an excellent chief of police. She was excited and explained him that crime will decrease and more goodness will spread. Ram and Roshni were sitting in the palace garden. Ram, however, was disappointed. He hoped for a greater responsibility, like deputy chief of the army, but he wouldn't necessarily reveal this to her. He rather said, "I don't know, Roshni, if I will be able to handle this. A good chief of police will need the support of the people." And Roshni asked, "And you think you don't have that support?" Ram smiled wanly and said that, "Roshni, you know what people think of me. I'm still tainted by 7032. Everybody blames me for the defeat at the hands of Ravan." So Roshni explains to him that, "Ram, you have only met with the elite people, like the kings and queens, prince and princesses. But what about the non-elite ones? The elite people do not love these kind of commoners, and these commoners will love anything the elite ostracize. Even if it's nobility itself, the common people will like you just because the elites don't. They might even follow you for that reason." Ram thought this to be a possibility and was intrigued, because he has always had this royal experience. Roshni further explains that people like us, the elite, we have no idea how the real world works. We don't even know what's going on out there. She also said that she has interacted with several common people, and it's a good thing that the elite hate Ram. They have made this entire endeavor easier. And Roshni said that she was sure that if Ram wishes, he can actually make the common people listen to him. She said that she believes he can control the city and reduce crime. And Ram can do a lot of things if only he believes in himself, like she does. A year passed, and Ram had successfully reformed laws. He has tackled what lay ahead, that most people did not even know about the laws. Some people did not even hear the law book called Smritis. The Manusmriti was popular, but most people were unaware that there were various versions of it, like the Brihad Manusmriti, and there were the other ones like the Yajnavalkya Smriti, Narad Smriti, and more. A lot of these books had contradictory laws, and most people did not know which one to follow. Given aside, some did not even know that these laws exist. Some lawyers and court judges did know the Smritis, but once again they were contradictory and ended up in complete chaos. This meant that the guilty as charged would escape based on loopholes and contradictions. Innocents were taken to prison for just the same cause, leading to horrific overcrowding. Ram knew what he had to do: simplification and unification. He himself studied the Smritis carefully and selected laws that he found were fair, simple, relevant, and coherent to the time. He joined all these laws together and made it the law that governs Ayodhya, and all other Smritis were considered obsolete. These laws were inscribed on stone tablets and put at all temples. Town criers were assigned to read these codes aloud every morning for the people to know. Soon the common people called Ram the lawgiver, and they respected him. And then Ram came with a second reform, and this was revolutionary, taking action against the corrupted without fear or favor. Ram understood that the police expected respect, and being able to take action immediately against lawbreakers meant they would be feared, thus respected. Ram also said that these laws were equal to everybody, including him. To make this obvious, Ram once returned to the city after dusk, when the fort gates had been shut down. According to rule, the door must never open to anybody. Once shut, the gatekeeper wanted to let the prince in. However, Ram upbraided him for breaking the law and decided to spend the night outside the city walls. The Ayodhya people talked about this incident for months. However, the nobles ignored it. The nobility disliked Ram for a very particular reason. While Ram's laws meant all the laws were equal to everybody, no matter who you are, the nobility often got caught up with them. Prior to him, they were safeguarded from such causes based on their nobility. Their hatred for Ram increased. They began to call him dictatorial and dangerous. But the common people, they loved the eldest prince of Ayodhya. Crime rates were close to zero. Innocents were increasingly spared. Criminals were taken to the jail. Women could go out at night, and Ram was rightfully credited for all the improvements. Ram's splendid journey began, though it was just the beginning, a star sputtering to life. One day, Kaushalya was explaining to Ram that he was making too many enemies. He mustn't be rigid about enforcing the laws. Too many nobles have complained to her, and she has finally called for Ram to her private chamber. She was worried that her son was losing the only few allies he had. So Ram explained to his mother that law cannot be selective. The same law applies to everyone, no matter who you are. Kaushalya explained that laws are different, but you cannot penalize somebody important like General Mrigasya's key aides. This wouldn't please father. Mrigasya, the army chief, was becoming powerful under Dasharath. Anybody who was against Queen Kaikeyi were instinctively attracted to Mrigasya. He fiercely defended the loyalists, even if they committed crime. Kaikeyi hated Mrigasya because he disregarded her wishes, and eventually Dasharath's attitude changed towards the general. Very recently, Ram had used his laws to recover a land from Mrigasya's aid, which had been illegally taken away from poor villagers. Ram also enforced a penalty on this aid, something nobody dared to do. So Ram now explains Kaushalya that what kind of politics is running between Kaikeyi Ma and General Mrigasya is none of my business. But law cannot be broken. Kaushalya then explains that the nobility can do whatever they feel like. So Ram explains his mother that nobility is about being noble. It's about the way of the Arya. It's not about one's birth, but one's conduct. Being a noble means having great responsibility. It's not a birthright. So Kaushalya says that Ram, why don't you understand? General Mrigasya is an ally. Other powerful nobles are in Kaikeyi's camp. He's the only one who can stand up to her. So as long as Mrigasya is there, we are safe. Ram then says that what has this to do with law? Kaushalya was now getting irritated and says, do you know how difficult it is to gather support for you?
Everybody blames you for Lanka." Ram did not respond. Kaushalya continued that she doesn't think this is his fault, but this is the reality. You have to be pragmatic if you wish to be a king. To which Ram says that I would rather be a good king or not one at all. Kaushalya exasperatedly closed her eyes and said that Ram, you live in a theoretical world. You have to be practical. You must understand I love you and I'm trying to help you. Ram says that if you love me, Ma, understand what I'm made of. Ram had this massive determination in his voice and eyes. He continued that this is his Janmabhoomi, his land of birth, and his service is to leave it better than he found it. That is how he can fulfill his karma as a king, a police chief, or a simple villager. Kaushalya was about to say more, but she was interrupted by a loud announcement that Highness Kaikeyi, Queen of Ayodhya, was arriving. Ram and Kaushalya immediately stood up on their feet. Kaikeyi approached with a smile and said, "Namaste, Didi," with hands folded. She also apologized for disturbing her during the private hours with her son. Kaushalya, however, said that it's fine, it was nothing important. Kaikeyi then informed Ram that Dasharath was going on a hunting trip. Dasharath hadn't gone out for hunting since Ram can remember. The battle injury he took in Karachapa kind of changed his life and took away the simple pleasures. Kaikeyi then said to Ram that she wanted to send Bharat, but Bharat has gone to Branga on a diplomatic mission. So if Ram could take this responsibility. Ram smiled because he understood that Kaikeyi wanted him to accompany Dasharath for his protection and not for better hunting. So Ram just said that it will be an honor to serve Chotima, and he left.